So there's a lot of conversation going on early July, right? All the things that have been occurring socially with gun rights and gun control and Roe v. Wade and reproductive health care. You know, more individuals losing their lives due to gun violence in many different ways, and just constant butting of heads that we see wherever you're watching your media. And it's tiring, it's frustrating in a lot of ways. That has some real repercussions to the people who are in the middle, experiencing these traumatic experiences, and a lack of regard for those who are dealing with this day to day, right? It's like there's two opposing sides of this hill, bombing or throwing, I guess, lobbying over their opinions and thoughts and perspectives, and disregarding in the valley the people that is experiencing the most harm in the aftermath of it. And it's hard because a lot of judgment is being cast throughout the social media space. And I just wonder how many of us are engaging with empathy, and more particularly those who are experiencing the trauma, the pain, the hurt, the fallout of these systemic activities, systemic oppression, these traumatic experiences. How are we engaging those individuals who are experiencing this the most? Who's hurting real time, right? And how are we changing the landscape so that way this type of harm doesn't continue to occur down the road? Yeah, when I speak about the whole reframing resiliency conversation, I mean, it's, yes, that conversation has more of a bent to the organizational culture side of things, but there's a real life community, citywide, statewide, nationwide conversation needs to be had regarding what are the relationships that we are having with people who are experiencing the most trauma and pain, and how are we providing aid and solution and support for them, and looking at the system to see what can we do to change and not let this continue to happen. There's way too many case studies of unarmed black men dying by the hands of gun violence. There are way too many cases of racial discrimination in the workplace. Way too many cases of folks living on the streets or unable to obtain the right funding to support their families, you know. And yet, are we not providing, where's the empathy in all that? You know, I'm reflecting on the sermon my mom sent me, actually, the church that she goes to, Center of Hope in LA. And her pastor was talking a bit about that dynamic of us coming to the table together, creating space and opening up our spaces to have the dialogue side by side on how these real life situations and experiences are affecting you and I and those that we live with. And are we in proximity with people who are engaged in this and asking them, what do they need for support? Or just hearing their story in general. putting names to the numbers, putting a face to the factors that we are in line items and agendas that are on committee reports and data sheets, fact sheets, census reports, things of that nature. Like actually putting names to the people who are engaging and experiencing these things. Because when we do that, it becomes real, it becomes tangible, and something that we can actually work to do something with and see some transformational change, because we can see the actual person who is impacted by our actions. So I guess I ask, and something I'm asking of me is, before I come to a point where I want to share my opinion about an opposition or something that is against, or not against, but something that is opposing my own ideologies, perspectives, worldviews, what have you, what have I done to sit across or sit next to the person who has that viewpoint and engage with them on a topic? What have I done to talk to people who have the lived experiences of these things that I have a worldview on, and just to hear their story of how their world is being shaped and their perspective? Because building those connections and relationships, or opening up my own perspective or worldview to incorporate those, will help inform the ways that I live my life and leverage my power, leverage my privilege to support those experiencing those particular lived experiences. Whether it is providing aid and support to those specifically, or speaking into other circles and spaces that are doing work that's impacting other people. So who are you sitting next to? Who are you engaging with? Who are you surrounded by that is shaping your worldview? And what would it look like for us to come together in that unified space and make some transformational change through the proximity that we share? Slightly incoherent, but that's what I'm pondering on the patio.